We notice that if the string that holds the kite, that controls the kite, snaps, what happens? Does it just take off and it does its thing? No. What happens to it? It does this and it finally crashes to the ground. And so people are very much like that. I'm like that. When I don't harmonize with my source, with who I am and what I am, and I think I'm just a body under the domain of everything that's going on, I'm going nuts. And I'm like that kite, I'm going like this and I'm crashing. Because what happened was, we as human beings, we kind of forget how to harmonize with that beautiful beingness that we are. And so human beings are very much like that. And what happens is we forget how to do that. A good case in point is Roger Bannister. I love the story of Roger Bannister. How many of you know Roger Bannister? You all do. But I'm going to say it anyway. But Roger Bannister, years ago, the scientific community had the idea that the human body couldn't run faster than a 4-minute mile. That the bone structure was not good enough, and that the lung capacity was pretty bad. And so the human body could not run faster than a 4-minute mile. And there's a good case in point here. So they went on a physical basis. The ancient Greeks used to do everything in its power to prove that wrong, but they did it on a physical idea. What they did, and that's what it's written, that they used to use lions and tigers to run after these athletes. Lions and tigers running after these athletes to get them to run faster. I mean, if you look at that, it sounds ridiculous now, but that's when we use the physical to solve a spiritual problem. We're using physical to solve a spiritual problem. Come on. We do that all the time. People get in our face, and they're yelling at us, and we yell back, using the physical. Well, the mystics say, go to a higher level of consciousness if you want to solve a problem in the physical. You don't solve a problem at the same level of consciousness that was created at the physical level. But they were using the physical. And so I don't know how many athletes they ran through. Then along comes this guy named Roger Bannister. Bull! I'm not going to let the scientific community determine my success as an athlete. That's nonsense. I know that I have within myself to run faster than a 4-minute mile. Isn't that cool? That's pretty cool. And so what did he do? Yeah, he did it. He said, I am enough. Because when we decide that we have this Christ nature, we are enough. And he said, I am enough. I can do this, and I will do it. And did he? Yes. But he did something special, and it proves what we do here at PLC. Because if you change the consciousness of it, and the research shows, if we change the consciousness of 1/2 of 1% of a community, you change them, it's a 100 monkey effect. Have you heard of the 100 monkey effect? You change the consciousness of the entire community. I think this PLC has a love energy that's affecting this community, and it has for the past 25 years or so. But anyway, what happened was he proved the point there, because he changed the consciousness of the other athletes. And what happened a year later? Everybody was, not everybody, but a lot of people were breaking the 4-minute mile. After hundreds of years, with all the lions and the tigers chasing people, nothing happened. All of a sudden, everybody's breaking. Now it's not a big deal anymore. You see what happens here? And so the thing is, what we need to realize is that we are this magnificent beingness. And I can tell you about that. The Hawaiians mentioned this idea of who we are, and they had a saying that when we're at birth, we are like a bowl of perfect light. How many of you have heard this? A bowl of perfect light. When we're born, the Hawaiian philosophies, we're a bowl of perfect light. And we are born like this. There's a great Chinese master called Lao Tzu. How many of you have heard of Lao Tzu? He used to say that that all of us has, at our generic beingness, we are a tremendous light when we're born. He called it the sky light. It's our nature. that we are magnificent beings when we're born, and we shine. We're radiant. And as we get older and go through this physical, our light dims. The Hawaiians say that as our light dims, what happens is we are confronted in the physical with things. We lose the connection that we have to spirit, of how glorious we are. We don't rise above it. And it's like taking rocks and putting it into the bowl of light. And the more rocks you put into the bowl of light, the dimmer the light goes out. And so it gets to the point where you're into unforgiveness, where you're out of the love energy, you're angry, and you're not providing a contribution to society itself. More rocks go in. But what the Hawaiians say is this, what's kind of neat is this, that you can always just bring the light back. All you have to do is take that bowl and turn it upside down, and the rocks fall out. This is it's symbolism, but it really means a lot to us here at the PLC, because we teach in December we can turn our bowls upside down, and what that means is we make a determination that we want to be unified with this divine energy that we are, and so we're going to release anger and doubt, the thing that we always have to be right, and we allow that to fall away from our experience, and then the light starts shining again. Do you like that idea? Let's clap for the Hawaiians. Mark Victor Hansen, I love this guy. How many of you know Mark Victor Hansen? Well, he not only talked about the Chinese Laosu and his sky-like nature, but he said this. He said there's a difference between those people who are a shining light, who's got all this enthusiasm, and those who do not. The people with the shining light, that they're like a star. And you all know, maybe you are one yourself, that wherever you go, you know they walk through the door and the light's there. They're alive. They're connected to spirit. They're all that they can be. He said the difference between that and the people who are not is that those people that are shining stars in this life, they've learned how to harmonize with spirit. They've learned how to be and to identify with who they are. And he said once we do that, what's kind of interesting is this. He said that once we harmonize with this divine energy, the pervading and prevailing intelligence of the universe itself, it sounds foo-foo, doesn't it? But the prevailing intelligence and wisdom of the universe is there for us. Once we connect to that light, once we know about it, and what happens in our life experience, in our consciousness, are laws and spiritual ideas that will manifest that our ordinary mind cannot absorb or does not know. This is how we step out into the unknown and just allow spirit to present itself. This is why we have things like this flash drive. This is why Angelo, and I've mentioned this before, this is why Angelo talked to London again last week. Can you believe that? I talked to London again on this iPhone. I Skyped Neil Mintz. Hi Neil, how's it going? How's Emerson Universal doing? Oh, Angelo's great. And we're talking as if he's in the same room with me. We're talking to each other, you know? This is the divine energy that we have available to us. That we can come up with almost a near impossible and experience in our life. A good case in point is, how many of you know, his name is R. Buckminster Fuller. Awesome. His life shows us the transformation that we go through in consciousness when we finally connect. This poor guy, at 32 years of age, was going through hell. He lost confidence. He was going through terrible things. His businesses were not doing so well. They were penniless, and then his newborn baby dies. So one night, it's cold out there, and he leaves his apartment. He was going to go to walk to Lake Michigan. And he was going to throw himself in. He was so depressed. And he goes there, and he's on the shores of Lake Michigan. And he's talking to himself. He says, my family is so much better off without me around. He was totally immersed in this drama of life itself. Totally disconnected to spirituality. And then he started asking himself questions. He said, is there a power in the universe greater than I am? And he looked at the stars and the skies and he said, there must be. There's so much order here. And look at, there's so much integrity in the planets and the stars. Yes, there's got to be a power in the world that's greater than I am. And then he said, does this idea of God, does it know better of what I can do than I know? And his answer is yes. You don't have any right to eliminate yourself. You are here on purpose. And then he asked the final question. He says, if I am on purpose then, and then I'm open myself up and I give myself to this divine energy, he says, well, let's be supportive of me in how I deal with my purpose. And the answer came very strongly and said, yes, you will never starve. You will always know what to do. And what did the guy do? Anybody know what happened to this man, Buckminster Fuller? He had 2,000 inventions. He got 40 honorary degrees, and he wrote 30 books and more. And at the age of 80, what was he doing? At the age of 80, he was giving over 200 lectures a year. Tell me about it. So in closing, I want to say this, that there's an awesome author, and his name is Singer. How many of you read The Untethered Soul? He said that when we connect to this Christ nature, this world ceases to be a problem. It's kind of cool. When we connect to this Christ nature, when we're in harmony with that which we are, the world ceases to be a problem. Well, what does that mean? And what it means is that we're here experiencing things, we're witnessing things, we're watching it, and things are always changing, but there's no sense of urgency that there's a problem at all. It's just going on. All we have to do is be a witness to what's going on. And it says, attitudes change, the economy changes, politics are what politics are. Who cares? The more we are willing to allow the world, the universe, to be itself, to be what it is, the more we are free then to be who we are. The more we are free to be this creative power that we are. So in closing, I want to say a few things on transformation, which is kind of neat. And, ego never leaves me. When we transform, when we identify who we really are, and we are connected to that, when we are in harmony with this life force, and where we accept as our beingness the Christ nature, that we are anointed, then here's what happens to us. We realize that the greatest pleasure in life is doing and achieving what people say you cannot do or achieve. That's a pleasure for Angela, I can tell you that. We realize that nothing splendid has ever been achieved except by those who dared believe that something inside them was superior to circumstances. That's what we're all about. There's something inside of me that's more superior than what's going on, so why am I kowtowing to it, you see? So there's something within me that's superior to anything that I'm experiencing in the physical world. That the impossible is what nobody can do until somebody does it. That unless I'm willing to walk out into the unknown, the odds of my making a profound difference in my life are pretty low. And lastly, and we'll close with it, whatever I vividly imagine, ardently desire, sincerely believe, and enthusiastically act upon, must inevitably come to pass, because I am gifted with the Christ nature, the Christ consciousness. And so it is. That's it.